my brother and the baptizer. You are the Lamb of God, yes?
I am.
Depart from me. I am a sinful man. You don't know who I am and the things I've done.
Don't be afraid, Simon.
I'm sorry. We've waited for you for so long, we believe. But by faith, I'm sorry.
Lift up your head, fisherman.
What do you want from me? Anything you ask, I will do.
Follow me.
I will.
Rabbi. You as well. Yes, you, James and John. Come, follow me.
I'll take the fish into market and settle up Simon's debt. I'll get some help to fill both of these boats. Are you sure? Yes, go.
What will you tell Ima?
We've just been called by the man we prayed for our entire lives. And you ask me, what will I say when you miss supper? Go, now.
I don't even know why I'm here. It's usually the students that choose the rabbi, not the other way around. And I'm not even a student.
Neither was I. Thaddeus introduced me to him.
How did you meet?
On a construction job in Bethsaida. He hasn't exactly been picking the best and brightest students.
Matthew. Matthew, son of Alphaeus.
Yes.
Follow me.
Me?
Yes, you.
What are you doing?
You want me to join you?
Keep moving, street preacher.
Do you have any idea what this guy's done? Do you even know him?
Yes.
Listen, I said to...
What are you doing? Where do you think you're going?
Guys, let me go.
Have you lost your mind? You have money. Quintus protects you. No Jew lives as good as you. You're gonna throw it all away.
Yes.
I don't get it.
You didn't get it when I chose you either.
But this is different. I'm not a tax collector.
Get used to different.
I'm glad we passed by your booth today, Matthew.
Yes.
Shall we? We have a celebration to prepare for.
You will regret this, Matthew.
What's the tablet for?
Grabbed it without thinking. You can put it back.
No, keep it. You may yet find use for it.
Where are we going?
Dinner party.
I'm not welcome at dinner parties.
Well, that's not going to be a problem tonight. You're the host.
The best thing about numbers is that they speak for themselves. They also never lie. which is why the Vatican has a central office of church statistics to keep track of the ever-changing numerical trends within the global Catholic Church. The office is responsible for a publication that offers in-depth statistical analysis of the life of the Church in the world. Being the Vatican, it goes by the fancy Latin title of Annuarium Statisticum Ecclesiae. According to the 2021 edition, there are currently 1,345,000,000 Catholics in the world, up by 16 million since last year. That number indicates Catholics now represent a little under 18% of the world's total population. It's not just about the numbers. It's what the numbers say about global trends and continental shifts. It's what they tell us about where and why the Church is growing or slowing. For example, it comes as no surprise to know that in Africa, where the Church is often considered to be younger and more dynamic, the number of Catholics has increased by nearly 3.5% since last year. Something similar can be said about Asia and Oceania, where over 1% more people were baptized during the past year. In the Americas, where 6 people out of 10 are Catholic, that figure is just under 1%. Equally unsurprising is the fact the number of Catholics in Europe is decreasing, even if not dramatically, but enough to confirm that the old continent is feeling its age. Lower birth rates, unbridled secularization, the spread of a post-Christian society, fewer practicing faithful, leading to fewer religious vocations, all of the above and more are among the causes to be considered. In the United States, the Catholic Church is still larger than any other single religious institution. According to the Pew Research Center, there are over 50 million Catholic adults in the United States, where they account for around 1/5 of the total US adult population. So why is any of this important? Because the number of practicing faithful is tied to the number of potential vocations. And the Church relies on her priests and men and women religious, along with committed laity, to carry out her work in the world. Happily, there is an overall upward trend in the number of vocations to the priesthood, although there are major global disparities, and again, the shift is towards Africa and Asia. This is what the figures look like. Unhappily, the number of candidates choosing to enter seminaries around the world is less than encouraging. Here are the figures. While statistics confirm there are fewer young men entering the seminary in Asia, that part of the world still has the greatest number of candidates currently preparing to become priests, more than double those of Europe, for example. Again, Africa is the exception. More young men are choosing to enter the seminary there than anywhere else in the world. That's one of the reasons why Pope Francis continues to express his confidence in Africa, and why he chose to inaugurate the 2015 Year of Mercy in Bangui, the capital of the Central African Republic.
Bangui diviene la capitale spirituale della preghiera per la misericordia del Padre.
Numbers may not lie, but they do need to be interpreted. And while they can give us a better idea of how the Church is changing, they can never convey the vitality that motivates her members, or measure the uniqueness of what it means to be Catholic. Ours is not, and never will be, a faith by numbers.
Here, growing up, I always wondered what priests did all day. And now I know, because
I am one. So I thought I'd give you a little rundown of what my day looks like. We got baptisms in the morning, we baptize in quintuplets, a wedding in the afternoon, confessions, evening mass, and then young adult social tonight. Lots going on. Gonna be a good time.
Okay, it is 6:30 in the morning. We're gonna head to the gym for a quick workout. People say, you're a priest, why do you have to work out? Hey, I'm about to baptize quintuplets. You think I could do that if I had super weak arms? Probably not. Okay, so this right here is the baptism cable fly. You want to set your weight pretty heavy, set the height about the level of a baptismal font, and then you want to pull out the cable, scoop the water, and then baptize. Scoop the water, then baptize. Scoop the water, then baptize. You do about 5 of those, because you never know when you're going to baptize quintuplets. I've been preparing for this for my whole life. Just kidding, I don't actually do baptism cable flies. That's absurd. Just got a solid workout in. Time for some breakfast. To decide what to wear, guess I'll go with the black shirt with the let's see, the black pants. Yeah. Okay, all suited up and ready for the day. But I guess I'm missing something. There we go. Come with me today, there'll be stuff you don't want to miss. It'll be like taking spiritual supplements. I might even baptize quintuplets. Relieved to know I can finally check that off my bucket list. So I'm gonna do most of my prayer time this afternoon, because I have a little break between the wedding and confessions. But for this morning, I'm gonna go and do morning prayer in our private chapel. Master key. You don't get this without age and experience.
I always do that before baptisms to remind myself what the babies go through.
All suited up for the baptism, wearing this thing called a cope. It's basically just like a cape. Not all heroes wear capes, but some do. Now that we finished the baptism, it's time for the wedding. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that order in your personal life. Just finished the wedding, have a little bit of a break, gonna get some lunch, and then gear up for confessions at 3. Confession time. Quick tour. This is where the sinner can sit, or the sinner can sit here, and then the sinner sits here. Me. I get so hyped before confession. This is my zone. Locked and loaded. Time for a quick transition to Mass. Mass is over, but we're not done yet. When I got to the parish, Father Dad asked if I would get a young adult group going. We've been at it now for about 4 months, and tonight we have our New Year's party. my day. Hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed living it. Until next time.
Just kidding. I don't actually do baptism camouflage. That's absurd.
Hi, my name is Father Mike Schmitz, and this is Ascension Presents. I might have shared before that Saint Francis Xavier is my patron saint. When I was confirmed, I was told you can get a confirmation saint. And I'm like, well, who do I choose? Because there are a lot of saints. There are so many different saints. But I really like Saint Francis Xavier because of a couple reasons. One is he was a track star at the University of Paris. And I thought, I want to be a track star, even if it's not in Paris, somewhere. Secondly, he is the patron saint of missionaries. St. Francis Xavier has these stories of him going to India. And it is said that when he was in India, he baptized over 40,000 people. It's just incredible. In fact, when you read St. Francis Xavier's letters back to Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, Francis Xavier was a Jesuit, he talks about this. He just talks about how there were so many people who just wanted to know Christ. That, in fact, when he arrived, there were some people who, he said, the only thing they know about being a Christian is that they're Christians. They don't know what it means, though. And he just would teach constantly and baptize constantly. And just like, it's amazing. But actually, he's a co-patron of missions, or co-patron of missionaries. The other patroness, is St. Therese of Lisieux. So if St. Francis Xavier is the patron of missionaries, it makes sense because he traveled thousands of miles and evangelized tens of thousands of people. St. Therese, she traveled I think maybe 10 miles from her home, maybe not even 10 miles from her home, and entered a convent at the age of 15 and died in that convent at the age of 24. She never went on mission. She did go on pilgrimage once to Rome, but beyond that, she was never a missionary. And one of the things the church reveals in this is that here is St. Francis Xavier, who travels, again, brings the gospel to all these people. Here's Therese, who doesn't travel and bring the gospel to all these people. One of the things the church is communicating to us by naming both of them patron saints of missionaries is, I read once, what really matters about the missionary is not the legs, but the heart. What really matters about the missionary is not the legs, but the heart. So what made St. Francis Xavier a great missionary, patron of missionaries, is not the fact that he traveled a long ways, not that he talked a lot about Jesus and evangelized. What makes St. Therese a great missionary is not that she went anywhere. What matters is that they were captivated, they were captured, they had a burning zeal to bring the gospel to those who did not know the gospel. And to do everything they could in their particular vocation to accomplish that. See, Ignatius Loyola, let's go to this third one quick. Ignatius Loyola, he wanted to be the great missionary. He wanted to be the one to go out. But the Holy Father at the time said, no, you need to be here in Rome. And so St. Francis Xavier was unable to go on mission the way he wanted to live on mission. But again, here he is, the founder of the Jesuits, and able to found this great missionary order. He could do only what he could do. St. Francis Xavier could do what he could do. And Therese, being a cloistered nun, could do what she could do. She dedicated her prayer, her heart, her life to spreading the gospel to places that were dark, to bring the light where there's darkness, to bring hope where there was no hope, to bring the gospel of Jesus Christ and grace where it was unknown, where grace was in some ways absent. That's where they were. That's where her heart was. That's where Francis Xavier's heart was. That's where Ignatius's heart was. And they simply did everything they could in their particular vocation as an outflow of their heart for other people. So same thing is true for us, right? The exact same thing is true for us. I don't know if you know this, but you are called to be a missionary. The church says this very, very clearly. And there's a document called Evangelii Nuntiandi, which is Evangelization in the Modern World, written by Pope Paul VI back in the 1960s. At the same time, there was the Second Vatican Council in the 1960s. And the church is saying in both of these places, both from Pope Paul VI and from the Second Vatican Council, the not only the universal call to holiness, that every person who is created on this planet is meant to be a saint, not just those who are nuns and priests and all these kind of things, but everyone. And then secondly, that we're all disciples of Jesus are called to be apostles of Jesus, that all disciples of Jesus are called to be missionaries of Christ. And back in the day, in Christendom, right? So when the whole culture was Christian, Francis Xavier, he had to leave to do that. He had to go to where there were no Christians to do that. We live in what's called a post-Christian era. In fact, there's this phenomenal book called From Christendom to Apostolic Mission. It is insanely good. I recommend that you read it. It's only 90 pages long. It was printed by UMary, University of Mary, on Bismarck, North Dakota. It's insane. So it's all From Christendom to Apostolic Mission. And one of the theses of this little book is that we do not live in Christendom anymore. We don't live in a culture that actually supports the gospel, that you would teach something at home and teach something at church, and they're going to teach something completely different in the public school. What you say among your family and what you share when it comes to witnessing your faith in Jesus Christ will be contradicted in so many ways by what, say, any government is doing. So we do not live in a Christian world anymore. We don't live in a Christendom. We live in what they describe as apostolic times again. In apostolic times, they were surrounded by a culture that was either ignorant of Christianity, indifferent to Christianity, or actually anti-Christianity. I mean, this is where we are right now, right? We live among so many people that are either ignorant of what we believe as Catholic Christians, indifferent to what we believe as Catholic Christians, or actually hostile to what we believe as Catholic Christians. Because of that, great news. You don't have to go anywhere to be a missionary. The phenomenal news is the church was prophetic in the 1960s when it said, actually, listen, every Christian needs to know this, that if you're on this planet and you're a disciple of Jesus, you are also an apostle of Jesus. And that doesn't mean you go to India. That doesn't mean you go to far off wherever. What it means is you need to share the gospel among the people where you live. That you need to share the gospel at your work. You need to share the gospel amongst your friends. You need to share the gospel with your family members. Because how many of us have family members who haven't heard of the gospel of Christ and haven't truly encountered Jesus himself? See, Francis Xavier, patron of missions. Because why? Not because of his legs, because of his heart. Saint Therese of Lisieux, patroness of missions. Why? Not because of her legs, but because of her heart. And you and I. Maybe someday co-patrons of missions, not because we went somewhere far off, but because we simply shared the gospel where we were planted. We simply brought hope to the person next door. We brought grace to our office. We brought the light of Jesus to our classroom, or to our operating table, or to wherever it is that you live and you work. I ask St. Francis Xavier to pray for me all the time, St. Therese to pray for us all the time. And we need it because we're missionaries. And you need it because you're a missionary. Because being a missionary is not a matter of legs, it is a matter of the heart. Anyways, for all of us here as Ascension Presents, my name is Father Mike. God bless.